Have you noticed this? Used car prices continue to drop. This comes after prices soared during the pandemic due to increased demand and lack of inventory.
Used car prices are down. So why does owning one feel more expensive than ever? Here's the part nobody tells you. The price you see is no longer the price you pay, because the real cost of a used car doesn't show up on the sticker anymore. It shows up after you sign. Your payment doesn't drop. Your insurance jumps. And the first repair hits harder than expected. Buyers think the market fixed itself. It didn't. The cost just moved quietly into places most people don't calculate until they're trapped. Interest, insurance, repairs, time. Used cars didn't become affordable again. They just learned how to hide their damage. And if you don't understand where the real cost lives now, you'll keep paying for a car that looked cheap only for the first 5 minutes you owned it. Prices dipped to monthly cost didn't. Yes, prices dipped. Compared to the peak years, used car listings are lower. Vehicles that once carried inflated tags have slid closer to something that looks normal. On the surface, that should have brought relief. It should have translated into easier ownership. It didn't, because ownership doesn't operate on price alone. It operates on payments. And payments live at the intersection of interest rates, loan length, and depreciation, not on the sticker. While prices were easing, interest rates were climbing aggressively. Used car loans that once lived comfortably at 3 or 4% moved into the high single digits and then into double digits. At the same time, loan terms stretched quietly. What used to be a standard 5-year loan became 6 years, then 7, in some cases even longer. The system didn't lower the cost, it reshaped it. A buyer financing a $19,000 used car today at 11 or 12% over 72 months can easily pay more over time than someone who financed a $22,000 car at 4% just a few years ago. The sticker looks safer. The obligation is heavier. That difference doesn't feel dramatic at signing, but it compounds quietly. Every extra month extends exposure, increases interest, and delays equity. The buyer believes they chose caution, yet the structure guarantees dependency. The loan outlives the excitement, the value, and often the patience required to keep paying. Long-term affordability breaks when time becomes the hidden cost instead of the price buyers expected from purchase day. Most buyers don't calculate total interest paid. They calculate survival. Can I handle this payment every month without stress? If the answer feels like yes, the deal feels reasonable. But the payment is no longer tied to the car's value. It's tied to endurance, how long the buyer can carry the debt without breaking. Longer loans hide risk. They compress the monthly number while stretching exposure. By the time depreciation does its work, the loan is still alive and well. The buyer is locked in, paying interest on a car that's losing value faster than the balance falls. This is where affordability quietly collapses. Not at purchase, but over time. When a car that looks cheaper keeps demanding the same monthly sacrifice as a more expensive one once did. The buyer feels responsible, not exploited, and that feeling keeps them paying without questioning the structure of the deal. That's why monthly costs didn't follow prices down. The system adjusted instantly. Buyers didn't. The price dipped, the payment stayed high, and affordability quietly fractured. Insurance plus repairs plus interest quietly replaced MSRP as the real killer. For decades, MSRP was the danger signal. Buy too much car, and the pain showed up immediately. High sticker prices meant high commitment, upfront and obvious. If you made a bad decision, you felt it right away. That era is over. Today, the real cost of a used car lives downstream, spread across interest, insurance, and repairs. These costs don't arrive all at once. They arrive slowly, quietly, and persistently, which makes them harder to recognize and harder to escape. Interest is the first quiet drain. Double-digit APRs don't feel aggressive in the finance office. They're abstract numbers on paper. But over 6 or 7 years, they pull thousands of dollars out of a depreciating asset. The car ages. The loan doesn't care. Interest keeps charging regardless of value loss. Insurance is the second shock. Used cars used to mean cheaper premiums. That relationship is broken. Modern vehicles are expensive to repair, not because they're luxurious, but because they're technologically dense. A cracked bumper isn't cosmetic anymore. It involves sensors, cameras, calibration, and specialized labor. A minor accident can now cost what a major repair used to cost a decade ago. Insurance companies didn't absorb that shift, they priced it in. Premiums rose across the board, especially for vehicles packed with advanced driver assistance systems. Buyers who save money up front slowly give it back through insurance bills that stay high year after year. Then there are repairs. Used cars don't forgive. When something fails, it fails fully, and it fails on the owner's schedule. Modern vehicles rely on electronics, proprietary parts, and systems that don't age gracefully. Transmissions fail. Infotainment systems glitch. These aren't small expenses, they're four-figure problems that arrive without warning, and they often arrive while the loan is still very much active. Most buyers don't budget for this reality. They finance it. Credit cards replace warranties. Personal loans replace savings. What felt like a smart purchase becomes a chain of financial patches just to keep the car functional. These costs rarely arrive together, which is why they feel manageable at first. Each bill seems isolated, temporary, explainable. But stacked over time, they reshape ownership into a constant drain. What begins as a monthly payment turns into a layered obligation, where interest, insurance, and repairs feed off each other. The buyer keeps paying, not because the car is worth it, but because quitting feels even more expensive than the cycle without questioning it. MSRP didn't destroy affordability, ownership did. Why 2018 to 2021 cars are the danger zone. If risk in the used market had a center of gravity, it would sit squarely between 2018 and 2021. This range looks safe on the surface, which is exactly what makes it dangerous for buyers who don't understand how ownership risk shifted during these years. These cars look ideal, they feel modern, they come with large screens, advanced safety systems, digital dashboards, and the kind of comfort features buyers associate with newer vehicles. They're recent enough to feel reliable, but old enough to appear affordable. To most buyers, they look like the smartest compromise between buying new and buying old. Structurally, they are the most dangerous place to be. Most vehicles from this period are now out of factory warranty or barely holding on to it. At the same time, they are packed with first-generation technology. These systems were impressive when new, but they were never designed for cheap, long-term ownership. Many of these cars were engineered around leasing cycles, not decade-long durability. Once the lease ended, longevity stopped being the priority. Once these cars leave their first owner, the risk transfers completely to the next buyer. Repair costs begin rising just as depreciation accelerates. Parts become expensive and labor intensive to replace. Independent repair shops often struggle with proprietary systems, forcing owners back into dealership service departments with higher labor rates and fewer alternatives. The timing is brutal. The car starts demanding money at the exact moment it becomes hardest to exit. Selling means absorbing a loss. Trading means rolling negative equity into the next loan, so owners stay stacking repair bills on top of monthly payments, watching ownership grow heavier every year. These cars aren't flawed by accident, they're expensive to age by design. Complexity was added to sell new cars and justify higher prices, not to make used ownership easier years later. Most buyers don't realize this until they're already committed, financially locked in, and discovering that the safe middle ground they chose is actually the most expensive place to age a vehicle. Who gets trapped versus who escapes? The difference between buyers who struggle and buyers who survive isn't income, it's behavior. The trapped buyer focuses on appearance and payment. They chase newer used cars instead of simpler, older ones. They accept long loan terms because the monthly number feels manageable. They underestimate repair risk and assume problems will be minor or rare. When costs rise, they trade early, rolling negative equity forward and restarting the cycle. They feel unlucky. They're not. They're predictable. The escapee behaves differently. They buy boring vehicles with proven reliability. They avoid first-generation technology and unnecessary complexity. They shorten loan terms instead of stretching them. They don't look impressive at purchase. They look intelligent 5 years later. Used cars didn't become unaffordable overnight. They became unaffordable by shifting cost into places most buyers don't fully see until it's too late. The system no longer needs high prices, it needs long timelines, high interest, fragile vehicles, and patience. If you understand where the real cost lives now, you can avoid feeding it. If you don't, you'll keep paying, quietly, monthly, and for years, for a car that never looked expensive in the first place. It's not luck or intelligence separating outcomes. It's repetition. The trapped buyer repeats the same mistake with different paperwork. The escapee repeats discipline until the numbers finally turn in their favor. Over time, one feeds interest, insurance, and depreciation. The other starves them by reducing exposure, shortening timelines, and limiting complexity. The gap between them widens slowly and visibly until one feels stuck forever while the other quietly regains control without drama, headlines, or applause. Financial outcomes rarely announce themselves. They accumulate silently through boring choices made consistently daily. Used cars didn't suddenly become a bad idea. They became complicated in ways most buyers weren't taught to see. The price stopped being the danger. The structure became the problem. If you don't, you'll keep repeating the same mistake with different paperwork and a different car. That's why platforms like Bidding for Autos matter. Not because they promise cheap cars, but because they give buyers transparency, real numbers, real conditions, and fewer layers between you and the truth. In a market built on opacity, clarity is leverage. If this video helped you see ownership differently, like it so it reaches more people stuck in the same cycle. Subscribe if you want more breakdowns like this. No hype, no sales pitch, just how the system actually works, and share it with someone who's about to buy a used car and thinks a lower price means a safer decision. The system wins when buyers don't understand it. Awareness is how you stop paying for that ignorance.